Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I start my presentation this evening, I want to address a few things. First, the reason I speak English because I expect very much to be here, so I pick up on my slides in English. But I'm still going to continue speaking English because during recent presentations for my chemical engineering, I think my English is horrible. Second, some things I'm going to talk about may, if you guys notice, may contradicts with what I'm doing. So this presentation is firstly directed towards me for all of you. The third thing is that this presentation is actually based on Abang Nuaz and Kak Nizal's presentation last year, but I changed it a little bit based on my understanding. So the topic today is not how to access a university student. Next, so our topic today is celebrating trials, or in other words, welcoming trials, or welcoming trials with open hands or great trials instead of complaining about the difficulties you are facing or sweating over it. So this is the overview of the presentation today. There's going to be two parts. The first part is trial of faith. I'm going to touch on why Allah gave us tests and how are we going to overcome it. And part 2 is trial as a student. I'm going to focus on more to academic and our studies. So the objectives of this presentation is we want to discuss the adab of facing trials and learn about the things that we can implement in our life as a university student. So when I say discuss, that means that if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. I really don't mind. Then the thing that I want you to achieve by the end of the presentation is to increase our awareness on how to face hardship, change our perspective towards trials. Like I said, instead of complaining, we should look positively towards difficulties that we face, and then motivate changes in ourselves. Part 1. So, okay. Why do Allah test us? Because we admit that we are believers, and I'm sure most religion, let's say when they face difficulties, they will ask their God, like, oh, why are you sending us this hardship? We have obeyed your command and all. So why do you still test us? Why do you not give us something good? And this is what Quran says for our Muslims. It's in Surah Al-Baqarah 214. And do you think that you will enter paradise while such trial has not yet come to you, as came to those who passed on before you? So in simple English, is that if you think you want to enter garden, the paradise, do you think Allah will not test you? If you want to enter paradise, Allah will test you. That is a confirmation, 100%. And by the end of this ayah, Allah said that unquestionably the help of Allah is near. Actually, this is the messenger response to one Sahaba. When the Sahaba asked the messenger ﷺ when is the help of Allah going to come. And if you read the Quran properly, and I found some ayah, but I don't remember which ayah. It's like there in the Quran, Allah repeats this: the help of Allah is near. So keep in mind throughout the whole presentation. And if you are if you complain about the trials or sweating, just remember that the prophets and angels are also tested by Allah Himself. The first example I can give you is Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam was commanded to sacrifice Ismail alayhi salam. So one thing that I want to address in this example is that yes, we all know that Ismail is the son of Ibrahim, so it is hard for him to do what has been commanded. But you have to keep in mind that just put yourself in Nabi Ibrahim's shoes. Like, you know that Islam is a religion of good, and when suddenly you receive an instruction from Allah that you have to sacrifice your son, it's like you can think that is this right? I mean, is this religion even right? My God asked me to sacrifice my own son, so that is actually a test of your faith. Do you actually how much confidence do you have in your God? It is a test of your heart, and like how far will you go to? How much confidence do you have in your God? And you have to be confident that all things that Allah asks you to do is there's something good, and we all know what happens in the end. That instead of Ismail, there's a goat, okay, or some kind of animal. And then the angels and Iblis were commanded to prostrate to Adam. Okay, it is maybe not fair to say that angels has been tested because they are the most obedient of Allah's servant, but Iblis was tested and he failed. And then Rasulullah SAW, when he was doing da'wah in Mecca, he was offered women, properties, and power. And what did he respond? I can't remember the exact word, but basically he said that if he has the sun on one hand and the moon on the other hand, he will not stop that da'wah. So this is a test, especially for man, woman properties and power, basically nafsu. And if you look at Rasulullah's response to that, this is a little bit out of topic, but it's about da'wah. And he said that even if they give him the sun and moon, he will not stop that da'wah. But what makes us stop from doing da'wah? Because of our studies? Would you compare the studies to the sun and the moon, the universe that we cannot create? We can discover knowledge, but we cannot create the sun and the moon. So think about that. Oh no, okay. Sorry about that. You will also be tested. Just want to repeat that we as human beings, as normal human beings, will also be tested. Such examples are the Sahaba, Bilal, and the family of Yasir. I'm sure you all know the stories. And Ashabul Ukhdud. Does anybody know the stories about the story of Ashabul Ukhdud? Do you guys know? It's about okay, I'm not going to tell the whole story. So basically the ending is that there's a tyrant king, and since his people has converted to Islam, has worship Allah, he asked all the people to go into a stream of fire. So at the end of the fire, there's a woman with her child, or maybe not a child, a baby. She was about to jump into the fire, but she hesitated. But then suddenly her child speak up, like, don't worry. I'm not entirely sure what did the baby say. Yeah, we are on the truth. So that's another test. And also Aisha, wife of Rasulullah. So what's her test? What did Allah test her with? Does anybody know? Yeah, it's fitna about her and Safwan. And there's one Friday prayer where Brother Muhammad gives a khutbah about this, and I really like it because I didn't know about the whole story, and I cannot tell the whole story again today because I don't remember all of it actually. But you can see that the hardship that she went through. Like even Rasulullah was tested at this time because Rasulullah didn't know the truth. And he was hesitant also. He has doubts. And he didn't see Aisha for like a really long time. So even like Aisha's husband, Rasulullah wasn't there to comfort her. So we always have to remember that when we face hardships, there's still Allah to help us. And next, why? Reasons why we have to be steadfast. First, we can increase our faith. According to the hadith by Rasulullah SAW, nothing before the believer, even a prick of a thorn, even a small thorn, or more than that, but Allah will raise him 1 degree in status. And this year in status is your status in Jannah. And thereby, or erase bad deed. So even if you got pricked by a thorn, it doesn't hurt much. But if you just be patient and not complaining about that, Allah will raise your status, and that's increasing our faith. And then obviously you'll get rewards from Allah. And Allah has repeated this over and over in the Quran, that those who are with patience, there will be great rewards awaiting them. There's also a hadith by Rasulullah SAW narrated by Tirmidhi. The greatest reward comes with the greatest trial. When Allah loves the people, He will test them. So if you admit that you are believers and you think that Allah will love you, so expect a test from Him. Whoever accepts the test, that people will win Allah's pleasure. But whoever is discontent with that, they will earn His wrath. And also a proof that Allah loves us. If Allah wills good for His slave, He hastens His punishment in this world, and if He wills bad for His slave, He will withhold him from the punishment until He requires him for on the day of resurrection. That is a hadith narrated by Tirmidhi. So from this hadith, that if you face hardship, just remember that Allah actually loves you and He doesn't delay your punishment. That is basically, in other words, it's your punishment here. And if you want to compare your punishment in the dunya and the akhirat, you actually cannot imagine it. So be thankful for that. Okay, move on to part 2. I'm going really quick here. Sorry about that. Okay, Ida.
I have 2 comments.
Yes.
The first one of the examples that you gave was where the prophets were tested by Allah was Ibrahim. So I just want to point out that not only are we tested in this world, but we are tested by what we look for. So if there's something that you put in your heart that you love very, very much, for example, your parents, right? So you will be tested by what is it that you love the most. So you be something to do with your parents, right? If you put anything else other than Allah in your heart as the center of your attention, then that is the thing that will make you cry. That's the thing that you will be tested on. So it's a proof that you shouldn't really put anyone or anything in this world as the center of your heart other than Allah. And then, so Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was tested by Ismail, his son that he loved so much that is the center of his heart, basically. So that's what he was tested on. And for other people, it would be a different thing, right? For everyone, it will be something different. And then the second comment is that the proof that these trials are meant to be closer to Allah, one of the proofs is that when you are faced with hardships, if you turn to other people before Allah, you will realize that person or that group of people that you turn to before Allah, they will neglect you, they will let you down, they will disappoint you. If you turn to anyone else or anything else other than Allah when you are being tested, they will disappoint you. So it's a proof that actually Allah wants you to turn to Him and only Him. These trials are not meant so that you can become closer to your best friend because you share all your problems. These problems are not being created so that you can become, you can get into drugs or alcohol, you know, because that's where you turn to when you're faced with these problems. So that is actually one of the proofs to show that yes, these trials are meant to make you closer to Allah, because that's the only way where you can actually face these hardships. That's the only resort. That's the only place that you can turn to. Yeah. Okay. So those are two.
Thank you for that. I have like additional comments to that. So yeah, just like Huda said, that Allah will test us with something that we love the most, like Nabi Ibrahim and Nabi Ismail. But in the end, Nabi Ibrahim chose Allah above Nabi Ismail.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to part 2. Trials as a student. So I'm gonna mostly gonna talk about your studies, how to properly study, I guess. I really don't feel like qualified to talk about this because I'm not a good student myself. So this is several examples of what makes us, the obstacles that we face. Our assignments, the due date, the project, the one group project, you have to work with other people, you have to cope with their attitudes, reports, there's a lot of reports, and performances such as say like how much do you understand about the knowledge, like the grade that you receive, and all these are involved in your responsibility as a student. Something else is expectations of your sponsors, expectations of your parents, the pressure that they give you, and we have money, like maybe the sponsor forgot to pay our tuition fees, they forgot to give our allowance, and we don't have enough money, there are debts that we have to pay, and unnecessary distractions such as video games. Yeah, you play FIFA with your friend and you lose and you stress out, and when you stress out it will affect your studies. And also, I'm sure everybody experienced this one. You break up with your girlfriend or boyfriend. So if you notice that all these four, it doesn't include in your role as a student. All these four is in your it's in your power. You have to handle that yourself. And I'm not gonna touch on that because if you cannot manage this, it will affect your assignment, project, reports, and then in the end it will affect you. Okay. I'm sorry the slide's a little bit messed up. 2 important things that you need to know. First is you have to know your trials, difficulties, and obstacles. You have to know the type of your trials, assignments, exams, or something else. You have to know the size, the due date, maybe it's a long-term project, or like you have 2-3 days of finishing your homework, you have to start immediately. The goal of your trials or difficulties, and the circumstances such as like maybe the grade weightage of your assignments. You have to prioritize which one have a higher weightage, I guess. And then the second one is, I think, more important than the first one is know yourself. Know your strengths and weakness, because you need to know yourself to plan out your strategies. So how do you know yourself? Maybe some of you actually don't know who you are. So you have to do research, experiments, trials and errors. And you have to start immediately. Are you an early bird or a night owl? Do you like academy? Do you like work better in the day or during the night, or you are in between? You have to know that. Don't think like I'm sure that most people stay up late to study. So if you found that it doesn't work, you cannot just follow the trend that other people do. Stay up late. You have to experiment. So next time, try to wake up early. I know wake up early is very difficult. Try to wake up early, and if you find that works for you, then so that's good. Then keep that up. And you have to identify your distractions and things that are beneficial to you. I cannot actually give specific examples. It's just like common examples because different people have different preference. So distractions such as food, Facebook, I think food helps actually, and things that are beneficial, music, friends. Some people doesn't like companies. They want to study alone. You have to recognize that. And the environment, is it quiet, do you want, or cheerful with friends? Some people don't really like to concentrate on what they are studying. They want to take a break and talk to their friends sometimes. Or either they want a peaceful environment. By peaceful I mean like maybe they like nature or something. And ways of studying. Are you good at